Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. This morning, we've got with us talk champion in the house, Kasiki. The one and only.
Good morning, Stan. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers, and blessings. Have a wonderful week.
How was your week? And
it's been incredible, Stan. The new year has brought many blessings to me, my family, and my tribe. So we're starting off on the right foot, like they say.
You were here last week.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is not like the first program of the year.
No, we were here last week with Dr. Bowen.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now. The days just blend one day right into the next. It's nonstop.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that, Stan, because this concept of time, this Western concept, is completely designed around slavery.
Well, I don't know about that, Lou. I mean, that's a stretch right there.
You keep thinking that.
I think that the oppressors have hijacked how we manage our time to their best advantage. But to suggest that time was instituted just for the purposes of slavery, time predates slavery, particularly within the U.S.
I'm just talking about this country, Stan, how it's been
manipulated, but our country is a lot younger than time.
Thank you for expanding on that, but I stand by what I said.
So
the way that is used in this country is all based on slavery.
The way time is used. I don't know. I think the more in an effort for people to be free, in a time when you can be free, because there is slavery, like in the old American context, going on the planet. There's sex trafficking. People are snatched up, sent out of country. There's slavery in China. There's slavery in the Middle East and a lot of these Arabian countries. I mean, slavery.
What about this other stuff that's been going on with Harvey Weinstein and these other people?
Harvey Weinstein's a little bit different.
The Hollywood, they're saying that all those people have they're all like pedophiles and stuff.
Yeah, well that's a little different. That's different. That's a whole nother subject. That's than slavery. I'm just saying in terms of slavery. And the only reason I bring that up.
I'm saying the human trafficking aspect of it, Stan, and the children that are being trafficked for the pleasure of these adults.
Those things right now are alleged.
Well, some of these people have been convicted of it.
Right. Well, I mean, you have the whole scandal within the Catholic Church. I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm saying, but what about the people who are guilty of these things get caught and they're sentenced? So
there's not an allegation anymore.
At that point, it's not an allegation, but we're talking about allegations of, like in Hollywood. Well, if we know that that's happening, these people need to be arrested, tried, and sentenced. This is not rocket science. But in a time when we have freedom beyond measure, particularly in the United States,
I think that's an allegation.
No, it's not. No, we are free unless one chooses to remain on the plantation in mental shackles. There's no excuse or reason for that in this day and age. There's no one having ball and chain and somebody locked up in their basement. That's not necessarily true because that does go on. But I mean, in the broad scheme,
you're contradicting yourself there a little bit, Pastor.
No, I'm not. It's a paradox, different than a contradiction. No, no contradiction there at all.
Okay.
Mental slavery. That means I don't leave the plantation. And my level of thinking, it is not. See, it's interesting because other folk who might think you are under the mindset of the oppressor determine your value and station in life, just like the oppressor does for other folk.
That's all learned behavior.
Right, so you have
monkey see, monkey do.
You individuals have to come to a place within themselves where they are satisfied with who they are, not defined by others. Because anytime you allow yourself to be defined by someone else, then you become their slave. Even if it's benign.
So, in terms of race and ethnicity, Stan, you open this door. Let's walk through it for a little bit.
I don't remember.
How do you identify yourself?
How do I identify myself?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who will remember this because he watches from time to time. I won't mention who he is. I'm sure he'll remember the conversation because he is still much like you. He is probably my best friend on the planet.
Okay.
I was joking with him because I told him when I had my first son I was going to name him Boy. He didn't think that was funny at all. I identify myself as Stan, period. I'm a human being.
So when you go for a mortgage or for a car and they're asking you some questions, they have the ethnicity questions or the census. Which one do you pick?
I pick the one that fits the category because I understand what it is that they are doing. That doesn't mean that's how I define myself. So in the box that they want to put me in,
I'm completely confused.
I know you're confused.
Completely confused by what you just said, man.
You're confused because it doesn't align with what you're thinking.
No, I just want to understand. You're telling me that you identify yourself one way over here, but then over here you identify yourself another way.
No, you don't get this set. See, this is why people, I always tell folk, do not engage in a discussion that is hypothetical, because hypotheticals are fluid and they're always in the control of the person that presents them. If I have a form set before me, hypothetically speaking, and on that form there is not a box that says human being, it's not an option. So my options.
You can't write it in?
I'm not going to write it in because
Okay.
it doesn't matter to me. I know who I am. I'm not defined by what they say. But that's what you're establishing. You're saying because it's on the paper, if you check that off, then that's who you think you are. That's a set of rules and a paradigm that may be that may be legitimate. But no, Lou, no.
I haven't said nothing. I haven't said one word. I'm letting
they
you
can't
speak,
see
brother.
you. They can't see you.
But my hands are up like I haven't said nothing. Go ahead.
We speak with our hands.
Go ahead, brother.
And our whole body. So
it's called body language, Stan.
Right. Your body language is saying, Stan, you're full of crap.
I didn't say that.
But your body language is saying that.
No, but I have a response.
Okay.
But go ahead. Finish your
If I
thought.
go someplace and they say, well, how do you identify yourself? I say, I consider myself a human being. So they hand me a form, and on the form it says categories. I am applying for a mortgage or a loan. Those were your established
or the
parameters.
census. We don't have to.
No.
Okay, we could do that. Then
Mortgage,
let's do the mortgage
or
the
loan.
Yeah, let's do that one.
I'm applying for their money. I want them to give me as much of it that they will let me.
Wow.
I know they are looking for ways to limit my access to the money. I'm not going to go in there giving them a hard time. They see me come in there as a person with brown skin, male.
Skinning and grinning.
Brown skin and a male. So they're going to automatically make me a black male. Now, I could play head games with them and myself and say that I self-identify as a Chinese male, which is acceptable today.
Yeah, because if you were born in China, you'd be Chinese.
I don't have to be born in China. People can self-identify as anything they want now.
I get that
I can
now.
self-identify as a different gender.
I get that, Stan.
Right.
I'm talking about regular folks now, not the new millennials
Human.
or whatever they call themselves.
If it's on a form, I'm going to sign up as a black male. That's not being hypocritical. To you, it would be.
No, because I just want to understand. I'm not judging. So I don't know where all this comes from. When I said I was confused, I didn't understand. Because if you identify one way, self-identifying, why can't that be who you are all the time? Because I think, and this is just me asking for knowledge, for people's feedback, including yours, Stan, if you, once you cross that, you X that or you check that, you're kind of accepting the identity that somebody else gave you.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, help me understand.
When I go into a place and someone identifies me as a jackass,
yeah,
does that mean I'm a jackass? In their mind, I might be. But
No,
but
because-
because they identify me as anything is of no consequence to me at all. I don't care what they identify me as. So I'm not, until I become what they say I am.
Yeah.
That's where I would have a problem.
I'm still confused, but that's not your fault. That's just my lack of understanding. I'm going to need some time to process that. Respectfully, I have to try to, see what that means to me, what your words mean to me. I'm not even sure if I understand what they mean to you.
I know what it means. It would seem to me that if I were to embrace what you're saying, it would mean that I am ceding to the person who boxes me in that what they think has value, and I'm more concerned with what they think of me, how they identify, than I am in how I self-identify. If I self-identify as a thing, then it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Respectfully speaking, brother, that is one of the saddest statements I've ever heard a person make, man. Respectfully speaking.
Why so?
Well, because it just shows how far we have been colonized, where we accept that kind of, we try to make something like that sensible, where we accept the identity that other people have. Hold on, brother, because here's the thing. It's not what happens with you at the moment. It's just that based on how you check that, decisions will be made for you, your family, and your tribe that you'll have no control over. Just because you check that, like whatever you check. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, for black and brown people today, we have to fight to change those qualifiers or classifiers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And define those things for ourselves. So we can have something to say about our own identity. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not saying that you're a sellout. I'm not saying that you disagree. I'm not trying to make it so it makes sense, under my way of thinking. I'm just trying to amplify the conversation, brother. That's
this is good. It's a good conversation.
I'm just trying to amplify.
I think we haven't exhausted it yet. If I were to spend 3 minutes out of my day concerned about what other people think, then I'm giving them a lot of power. Not to mention if I spend 8 hours a day. So I'm going to spend my day fighting to get an ignorant individual to stop putting me in the box that's in their mind. I have better things to do with my time. If they choose ignorance, that is a right that they have. If a man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. If he wants to be ignorant and put me in boxes, that's fine. To the degree that he is going to set up structures, rules, regulations, policies, and procedures that are now going to negatively affect me because I checked that box.
Yeah, that's what's
happening. He's
happening.
going to do that whether I check the box or not.
Right, but that's what's happening. That's my whole point.
Yeah, but
that sometimes we don't understand that one innocuous decision like that, the impact that it can have. and not just on you, but on generations to come. We have to start thinking generationally.
I am thinking generationally.
I spoke about this before. Mm-hmm. White people plan for 3 generations. We don't plan for the next moment. You know what I'm saying?
That's a pretty broad statement.
It is. And we can dissect it, brother, but I'm just trying to make a point that the decisions that you make, we have to recognize how they impact us as a group and subgroups.
So your statements impact us. First of all white people are not smart. All white people are not in charge.
Get that. I get
so
all
that. White people are not making decisions. And it also says that black people only think to the end of the moment. That is not true. Black people that are on the same level and same conditions of survival mode as white people or any other people may think that way. But there are plenty of black people in America and on the planet who think long term, who plan and build societies. So I wholeheartedly reject that black people think one way and white people think another way. No, we all think differently, and sometimes the way we think aligns. So you can't make you can make sweeping statements, but I personally reject the notion that white people think long term and black people only think short term. People in power think generationally, whether they're white or black. People who are oppressed by the elites who are in power, whether they be black or white, those individuals who generally are living from moment to moment, paycheck to paycheck, that's survival mode. And that survival mode means you're just trying to make it to the end of the week. You're not trying to think generationally. You're trying to think of whether or not you got enough money to pay your cable bill or your rent. You don't have the luxury of thinking long term. The people who even have a long-term concept in terms of their conversation have the capacity to not have to worry about moment-to-moment things. Otherwise, it would be just like everybody else. I've been there worrying whether or not my electricity is going to get cut off because I forgot to take the final payment in, and it's Friday night and the lights go off. Now I got to wait till Monday, and I got to pay an extra fee. If I'm anyone who's paying a late fee is not thinking long term. By virtue of the fact they pay late fees. I could show you years of late fee. All right? Now, that doesn't mean I don't think long term in other areas. So sweeping statements like that, I think, do more harm to the very people that we're trying to free in terms of their minds than they do benefit. And it also cedes power to the very people who you think are so much in charge. They're so in charge. Well, why would our president say that you shouldn't have paperwork that's classified to one person but have it himself? I mean, people just say stuff. You got a box of classified paperwork. You might not want to say anyone that does so is reckless and stupid.
I'm pretty sure that every president has had
absolutely
documents at home, and
absolutely
now the fighting is so bitter that they're looking for stuff that has nothing to do with the proper running of this country.
Absolutely.
So it's like we said before, I enjoy a white boy fight because it ain't got nothing to do with me. So I'm gonna leave it like that. You know what I'm saying? Let them figure that out. That's what they do to us.
Well, that is true.
They watch us fight, and then they say, well, hopefully one of them will kill one, and then we'll just put the other one in jail for the rest of his life, which is like being dead, and we're good. And then we'll eat because we'll have him in jail. We got to keep him alive, and then we'll hire some doctors that barely take care of him, and whatever. The whole thing is rigged, So, we want those type of fights. But, brother, my point with that statement was, and thank you for your viewpoint on that, but my point is always that we cannot overcome or, combat anything unless we're aware of it. And I think that in this country, there are more black and brown people that are oppressed and marginalized than there are whites. And I know that there are black and brown people who think long term because I'm one of them. So,
there you go.
So that's not a knock against us. It's just to create awareness and to raise our consciousness of who and where the real enemy is. And that's what this conversation is always about for me.
Oh,
Because we don't have to fight ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But creating an environment where we can be black and brown without thinking about what anybody else has to say about us is always of paramount interest to me.
Absolutely. Well, I always think if I have a flaw, it's that I probably think too highly of myself. So, I'm self-actualized. I don't want to sound I'm always accused of being arrogant, but I don't want to sound overly arrogant. It doesn't matter to me what other folk think. I'm not defined by what they think or restrained by what they think. So the idea, the very notion, even to give in even an inkling that I should conform because of what someone else thinks, I just, it's a semi-trigger. But we have a caller on the line. You're live.
Good morning, Stan and Luis. How are you doing?
Peace, brother. Peace.
Peace. Luis, at some point I'm going to have to meet you. I don't know when. Hopefully it'll be this year. It's strange that me and you have never met before. And I do need some of your contact information. I don't know if you feel you want to give it to me, but at some point, hopefully I can get that as well.
Sure.
Luis, yes. Luis, I just wanted to find out, number one, if you don't mind explaining, why do you personally feel voting is not for you? Why do you feel the voting political system here in America is not something that Black and brown people need to participate in, if that's how you feel, which I'm not 100% sure? There's other factors I don't want to dwell on too long. I just want to leave it at this. Luis, would you feel that if Black and brown people felt they were more connected throughout the world beyond where they geographically are born and raised, that would make a difference? Meaning that if you are born and raised in the inner cities of America, and this is the only place that you know, this is the only attachment that you have, Stan, you've been very blessed to visit South Africa twice. And I don't know how you feel, what impact or influence that made on your life. But back to you, Luis, do you feel that Black and brown people were more connected throughout the world and they knew more than just their inner cities where they're born and raised at in America? That would be a good starting point towards developing them beyond where they're at today. And I just wanted to get your feedback on those questions if you can answer it, Luis. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for those questions. They're very important questions, and I'm happy that I have an opportunity to chime in. So on the first one, on the voting, I think that we have to create, a political system where we can be successful, and the point is always going to be community, but community, not the dictionary definition, but the definition that I gave on an earlier show, where we all, all of us humans and animals, like we call them, and the planet come together, because every decision that we make in our lives should be about improving this planet, because when we improve the planet, we improve ourselves. So the political system that we have in this country has no concern about people, and it has no concern for the planet. So, you already, you go to bat with two strikes. Come on now. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that we can talk about. And so we have been kept out. I mean, look at what's happening right now. With the Trump investigation, and how, he did, in my opinion, he did a lot of things that were criminal. He should have been arrested as president. He should have been arrested for inciting riots, because that's what he did. And a lot of people were killed because of his actions. So, I don't think that a system like that works. I think that we need to go back and take a look at it. I have some ideas, from indigenous and African center philosophies, but I think that it hasn't worked for us. So that's the first thing. And then, what was your second question, brother?
I thought the second thing was about why you don't feel the voting system is workable.
It hasn't worked for us, brother. It hasn't worked for us. Look at cities like Hartford, And look at all all the major cities in Connecticut are all like 90% plus people of color, and they all have a white mayor or some white leadership. You know what I'm saying? We've been kept out. They just do whatever they want, and then they apply the law one way to themselves, and when it comes to us, they apply it another way. Look at how all these institutions, right? How they've become criminal institutions. Look at the police now. The police get mad at other policemen who arrest police who are committing crimes. The dude that arrested the criminal becomes a pariah in that department. A lot of times they gotta leave. You know what I'm saying? Because their life is in danger. So and this is all through the political system. So we have to redo this, brother. We have to redo this. And then in terms of black and brown being together, I think is a wonderful idea, because I've often talked on this show about dismantling the Constitution and rewriting it with black and brown people leading the narrative. So I think it's a wonderful idea. I think we are more aligned and in tune with universal law and spiritual law. And I think that leading the way would probably take us to the next level of human evolvement by allowing us to lead. Because when we lead, we always lead together. And this rugged individualism and all these nasty things that are happening in America, this was breaking down the fabric of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Because they think, listen, the only thing that white people think about is the profit margin. There's no humanity in it. And I wrote something that I'm glad you called with that, because look, I wrote something to talk about. When you use someone's name, you validate and acknowledge their humanity and existence. And white people's refusal to acknowledge our humanity and existence creates an environment where we do not exist.
All right, hold that thought right
and
there.
And I put Ralph Ellison as my inspiration for that quote. He wrote The Invisible Man.
All right, hold that thought right there. It's Morning Talk. Stick and stay. We will be right back after this break. Caller, you can hold on if you'd like to.
Yes, I will.
All right. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Morning Talk. Live.
Independent thinkers are Puerto Rican, Mexican, Peruvian, Indian, Bosnian, Italian, Irish, Jamaican, African American, European, straight, gay, Nigerian, transgender, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, short, tall, skinny, rich, poor, happy, sad. Some of us hold a PhD and others a GED. And though we may be Democrats, Republicans, or members of the Working Families Party, we all have escaped the plantation of party politics and become independent thinkers, because we as individuals are more than a party. You see, independent thinkers come from all walks of life. And the one thing we all have in common is that we love, live, laugh, and learn in the city of Hartford. We are the constituents, and the government of Hartford belongs to us. My name is J. Stan McCauley. I'm an independent thinker, and I approve this message because it's time to stop towing the party line and vote for a candidate you can trust. You too can escape the plantation of party politics if you have the courage to free your political mind.
Hi, so my name is Nelky Maldonado.
My name is Ramon L. Arroyo.
And we know that Hartford Parent University provides good services and resources to parents in our communities, which are greatly needed, because a lot of times our parents, they don't know where to go, how to get information, and being part of this program is essential to them in being successful in their children's education.
And I think that parents should get involved in their kids' education, because it's very important. Education is, I always believe, is a success in life. If you got a good education, you can be very successful.
So we encourage our parents to please come join the program, ask lots of questions, and I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yes. Welcome back. Morning Talk. I'm your host, J.C. McCauley. Cacique is in the house. Talk champion.
Hey, Stan, and I got to tell you, man, I don't know if you did that on purpose or it was just what was in line, but what a perfect segue to continue on the topic that we had with that brother that I believe he's still on the phone, right?
Yes, caller, still there?
So look, here's why. Here's another reason, brother, why the current political system doesn't work, because party politics are not people or community oriented; they are corporation oriented. You know what I mean? So when the next time you talk to any one of these politicians, ask them to give you the definition of community, and if they give you the dictionary definition, then you know that they are corporate oriented. But if they give you something indigenous, Afrocentric, something that has humanity in it, then that's more accepting. You know, that's somebody that wants to work with us. But they don't know that. And they are comfortable to use that kind of language. You know what I'm saying? And all of them work for the party. That's why it doesn't work. Because really they're supposed to be working for us and trying to make our lives better. They're supposed to, everything from better educators to better police officers to a better fire department. They're supposed to be making improvements. So they have all the supports in place to do the best job that they can, which is to serve us, the residents of their community. And that's not happening. There's a lot of behind the room deals, back room deals, and there's a lot of things that we're not privy to. And I think that for me, anything that's going to impact myself, my family, or my community, I want to know about. And I want to chime in because, like I said, it's impacted me, my family, and my community. And if each and every one of us thought like that, then we would make more critical decisions, better decisions for ourselves, our family, and our community, which includes electing public officials.
Caller?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, Luis, I definitely like hearing from you. I agree with just about everything with the exception of the voting, and I'm talking about individually. I don't agree with tanking it, saying, "Well, I don't buy into this political system, so I'm not going to waste my time and vote." What I do and what I would recommend people to do is go to the polls. I'm doing my civic duty. I don't see any candidate that I am interested in voting for. But me as a registered voter, I did go, I did participate. You may not accept that as a good solution, but at least I've shown that I'm interested in wanting to vote. But I don't see anybody that I'm interested in voting for. I don't believe in this voting system. So at the very least, that's one thing that I am willing to do. I agree with you, Luis. I don't think any of these candidates that's running for mayor of Hartford in 2023 is going to do anything dramatically different. I think if the people in the community mobilize together and we work together on a common goal, that will carry much more weight than a voter, mayor, or city council people trying to implement what we think we should be having in our community. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's a good track record in the past that it has worked, at least here in Hartford. I can't speak for the total United States, but at least here in Hartford, where I'm born and raised and live, it hasn't really worked. Now, I don't agree with things can't work. I think there is a way that you can make things better. And I think the political system do play a critical role in changing things in your community. I don't know exactly how to put everything together, but I will say this, and I do got to run pretty soon. The government in Ghana has already been aware of Access TV network. I've passed some information along to the government of Ghana. They seem to be very interested in liking the format that we have here. And as a host or co-host or whatever you want to call me on the network, I am trying to work on setting up a Zoom interview with a government official in Ghana. I don't know if that's going to happen, but at least I'm trying to do that because they are aware of the network. They like the network. And I want to see where things can go beyond just putting our eggs in this local structure. And I don't personally, again, think this upcoming 2023 Hartford mayoral election is going to do anything dramatically differently. But I think us as a community...
brother. So, you know, it's like getting on a bus and then you sit down and then you don't think the bus is going to go anywhere different. What bus are you on? I'm on the 59. So, you know, you're sitting on the 59 and you get on and you're like, you know, you expect it to go somewhere different. It's the 59. It's always going to go the same place. The only way you're going to get to another destination is to get on a different bus. But I would suggest either getting your own car or get an Uber. I mean, the government is not going to go in a different direction if you don't make it go in a different direction. You know, and to that degree, that speaks to what we were talking about earlier, you know, a colonized mindset or plantation mentality. We sit around and wait for them to do something, and that's a huge problem. That speaks to the state of mind of the people that are on the plantation, and to that degree, what Kasiki says is right. You know, people's minds have been colonized and shackled,
and so we have to learn to think. And I often speak about this. We have to develop systems and programs for ourselves that we can conduct that are indigenous and Afrocentric in its inception. In its very inception, okay, and it has to be taught by us. We have to relearn a lot of that because what's happening, brothers, we lost our way. You know, we don't have an identity. We were talking about identity. We don't have an identity. I often ask, you know, black folk in the community, I say, hey, black folk have been called black, Negro, African, African-American, colored, the N-word, and a bunch of others. How many of them names did you pick for yourself? And they look at me and they angry sometimes and say, none. And I'll look at them and smile and say, but brother, you or sister, you accepted each and every one of those. You know, and we can talk about that.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Right, but that's what's happened. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm asking us to create things that we identify with. So, and it's hard because everything that we know is European based. But even our history has been told by somebody that we know now has lied.
So the fix to that is to be a community by definition. Wrong button. That is to be a community. See, if that was someone on the staff, I'd have fired him for muting me out. But since I did it, I can't fire myself.
I'll give you some push-ups after the program, man.
Then you know, community is self-sustaining, self-educating, and self-policing at the bare minimum.
Yes,
those three things. So when we start teaching, I mean, we can't keep going down the wrong road.
We're talking right now. We just have to get more. We're talking right now. We just got to get more people to buy into it.
Right.
Because there's a new concept, and it goes against everything that you have known your whole life.
Not a new concept.
That you have completely bought into.
It's not a
without
new concept.
Thinking about it.
Right.
Well, can I just say one last thing about what you said, Sam, about getting on the different bus? first of all, I'm not telling people, and myself included, I'm not waiting for the government to find me a job, to find me housing.
Right, that's not
To
their job, first of all. But go on.
That's right. So I am as an individual doing those basic necessities. I'm not telling people in the community to put your faith in city government towards changing the community, but they have roles to play in city government. They have departments that they're supposed to operate. They're supposed to be engaging with the community, and we as the community needs to be doing things for ourselves. Somewhere along the line, there is a friction level, and I would like for you, Stan, to send Luis. I sent you and a few other people a documentary about the history of Hartford as far back as the '70s. And I think if Luis gets that document, it is going to confirm what he has been talking about with our track record. But I think people need to feel better about their own life, their own individual circumstances. And I'm not telling people again, the mayoral election, the city council election is something that you should wait and plan your life for. But if you're going to be a resident of a city and you have a city government that's supposed to be at least doing their job, regardless of.
I would contend that the city government does do its job.
Involving public safety, involving
yes, yes.
development.
They don't do the best job possible, but they are doing their job. And you and I have had this conversation for 20 years. And I'll say this without fear of contradiction. Anyone running for mayor that says that they're going to control interpersonal relationships that wind up in homicides is a fool. They bring upon themselves instant defeat because it's outside their control. So for them to pretend that they actually can do something about it apart from the community is foolishness. And the community accepts that to the degree that we're having the conversation. Like, the police department is supposed to do that. But the police department are the authorized agents to enforce the laws that we make. If you don't have oversight, then expect your employees to run rogue. They're our department. They belong to us. We're the ones who aren't doing our job.
We have to rewrite what their responsibilities are.
You can do that at the public safety level.
If we want better policing, we have to rewrite the policies and procedures under which they operate. Because right now, police are really there to protect businesses. They're not there to protect us as citizens.
That's on us.
They're there to protect businesses. Please remember that, people.
That's on us.
So we can change that.
We absolutely can
change that by changing the law, changing their policies, and all of that.
You change city ordinances. Yeah. We have election coming up.
Yep.
We have an election for mayor and an election for city council.
I remember
and to the degree that if you don't like the way your police department is running, go find out who the city council people are that sit on the public safety committee. I have not seen a city council member call for public hearings over the budget and expenditures that happen around the police department, calling them to task. What
I was in the city council meeting.
We're up against break. Go on.
No, we'll talk about it when I come back.
All right. So we got to take a break. We'll be right back. Caller, thanks for the call. And you all stick and stay. We'll be, it's Morning Talk. Be right back.
Hi, my name is Marisha Garcia. I'm from Brazil. I happy HPU. I happy families de Universidade de Harvard Community. Estou muito feliz em participar. É muito importante engajamento deles padres e madres nas escolas de Hartford com seus ninhos, my children. I love helping family e HPU. Thank you. Gracias. Obrigado.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their charity. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now, more than ever, you need to make your vote count. Declare your independence from the plantation of party politics and free your political mind.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right. We're having a show off the air. Welcome back, folks. It's Morning Talk. And where else can he have this much fun? Cacique.
So, Stan,
Mm-hmm.
even with everything going on in our city, I think that we can, I agree, Stan, that there's many things that we could do at our level that can happen. But I think that one of the most important things that we have to do in our city is we have to get rid of the Democratic town chair right now. I think that'll be a huge blow to white supremacy in our city and to its supporters. So I'm putting that out there. We have to get rid of the current Democratic town chair.
That's a tall order, but before that town chair, there was a town chair. So I mean, town chairs come and go as political winds come and go.
And like that brother on the caller earlier asked about what would happen if black and brown people all over the world got together and decided that we're gonna make some major changes for the better. The same thing in Hartford. I just need the town committee members and elected officials, the black and brown ones, all of them, but particularly the black and brown ones, to show some backbone, to elect someone who's community-oriented, get rid of Mark and his gang and of criminals, and let's take our city back. Let's show some backbone this election. And I'm telling you right now, Stan, I'm hearing some terrible things out in the community about all these people that are running. It's shameful, man, how they're talking about Eric Coleman is Bruce Rubenstein's candidate, that Jimmy Sanchez and the other young man, Nick Lebron, that they're just it's going to be like the same old that they had with Luke Bronin, because they're his puppets. And people are asking me, who is John Fonfera? What has he done in Hartford for the last 20 years? You know what I'm saying? So who are these people? We have to ask the same questions. And we have to ask, why are the community asking questions like that? Well, you know what I'm saying? And we're demanding answers right now. What qualifies any of these people to run? Just because you're a politician, that qualifies you to run a city? Well, you haven't done nothing here? This is the same nonsense that Luke did, the same nonsense that police chief did when I asked him, what have you done in Hartford in the last 20 years? The guy looked at me with a straight face and said, well, we did one toy drive. So he did one toy drive at Hartford Hospital. That's not Hartford. That's Hartford Hospital. Completely different entity, right? And that qualified him to be the police chief of our city. Well, you know what I'm saying? So we have to really, in all of these elections that are coming up, we have to demand accountability, and we have to demand real answers from these people, or we need to kick their behind right off the podium.
Well, I agree with you conceptually, but the only thing the only qualifier you need to run for mayor is to be a certain age. You okay there?
It's to be alive.
Right. You can be dead and vote, but you can't be dead and run for office.
Oh, my goodness. Is this a new
dead vote, you know.
Is this a new policy?
Well, that's an old school policy. That's old school politics, you
Holy
know.
cow.
Vote early and often, and now you can. And even if you're dead, you can vote 3 and 4 times.
Oh, my goodness. We've had plenty of that around here.
But having said that, is if you're a certain age, and what else? And you want to run. That's it. You don't have to have anything to run. The question should be, why are people voting for folks who haven't done anything?
Because that's what they're trained to do.
So they either need new trainers or their minds need to be freed. And sometimes the broken mind can't be freed. And so to that degree, a lot of folks are, where's my analogy? This is kind of crass, but I'm going to use it anyway.
Break it down, Stan. And while you're looking for that information, I just want to say to all the black and brown candidates who are running, don't be dumb and split whatever little votes you're getting and let another white man walk in. Okay? Let's use our heads this time. Put your little prides aside.
I'll use the upscale example because I couldn't find what I was looking for. I was looking for a roll of,
toilet paper.
But this is what the voters are. Paper towels. We'll keep it clean. Paper towels. And then, they wipe. This is election day.
And they wipe with you?
Right.
They wipe themselves with your vote?
Then this is the vote. And after they don't need you anymore. Then now you were a utility that was necessary for them to move to the next level. You're not their charity. You're not their goodwill cause. You're just a vote. And that's all you are. So if people are in desperate straits where they are reliant on government to meet any need that they have, then they become monetized, and the currency that they are worth is a vote. So come voting time, Congress people will come, state people will come, and they start handing out checks to the different groups in the community, and that's how they lock in the group and the constituency of that group. And then they go away. Every voting, and then they come back out, and they take the voters off the shelf, they use them, and then they put them neatly back in there. So you have to see yourself as much more than that. Now, in the suburbs, it's the other way around. The elected officials serve the constituents. And the minute they stop, the constituents get rid of them because they are volunteering with minor compensation to serve you. That's how it's supposed to be. But in Hartford, where there are billions of dollars in play, billions, folk want control of that. And never, ever, folk have to stop saying this. Well, we're the 4th poorest city of our size in the country. Hartford's a poor city. Hartford is not a poor city. Hartford is a very wealthy city where poor people live. So you got to understand that. the population of Hartford may be the fourth poorest of a city its size. But the money that flows through Hartford,
The government of Hartford.
billions of
Yes.
dollars that get allocated. And there's legitimate uses for that money. People, they buy, there's contracts, you got to paint, you got to take care of the roads, the sewer system, you got to take care of the waterways, you got
And
to
some of these contracts are worth billions, Stan.
billions and millions of dollars.
The MDC had a $2 billion contract
Clean water.
to do all the sewers and stuff, and then we had the stadium, the school of nursing, the improvements to the civic center. You know, there's plenty of money coming through Hartford all the time.
Emergency repairs on cement.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I want? I want the water contract for fix. I want the repair contract for fixing the water damage to the library.
Whew. You'll be set for the rest of your family. You'll be set for a couple generations, bro.
I can't even get a simple contract to do television for the station for the city.
Wow.
I'm deciding whether or not I want to go full nuclear on that RFP.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait for the right time.
So
to
Stan, before
vent
we
my
go on this
ire
commercial,
over that.
I don't want to lose my train of thought. So what I was saying before the last commercial, that even with the police department, I keep telling me we have to rewrite everything. Even with the police department, I was at a council meeting where the police chief was given a detailed explanation on everything that they do. And when police officers break the law, when they commit a crime, they have a board of police officers that hears what happened, and they're always exonerated. How can that be? They're committing a crime just like you and I. They have to be upheld to the same law. So we have to look at their policies and procedures and see if they are acceptable to the community, not to them.
Well,
because to them, they're going to do whatever they want. No, Stan, if you...
No. You're
if
right.
an officer breaks the law, he broke the law. He's not going to go to a panel of other officers.
Right.
He's going to be arrested, and he's going to be put through the judicial process just like you and I would be.
I was going to...
End of story.
Right. I agree with you 100%. I was going to use as an analogy Boeing. Boeing was allowed to inspect and do the oversight of the 737 Maxes that were falling out of the sky.
Yeah, for their own planes.
Total disaster. And so, you know, people got killed. Now, with the police, people still get killed.
Yes.
And so this is very important. But, of course, the police are local. They're not federal police officers. They're local police officers, which means there's local oversight. And if you want to correct what's going on with the police department, protest your way to a city council meeting and talk to whoever chairs the public safety committee and let them know how you feel about it. Stick and stay, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends. Welcome back. Remember old school city council meetings, budget time?
Yeah.
You remember John O'Connell?
Yeah.
Now I haven't seen budget. I haven't seen a budget hearing like that since John. The department heads literally would cry.
Because he was holding them accountable.
He was holding them accountable.
And this is why party politics don't work. John O'Connell, a Republican, was a phenomenal servant for this city.
Mm-hmm.
A white Republican. Okay? A phenomenal. And once again, to the brother who called earlier, that's why party politics don't work. Because the Democrats, instead of allowing that man to sit in a council with them for all the things that he brings, won't deal with him because he's a Republican. Somebody who is a phenomenal defender of the city, of his citizens, holding everybody accountable, right? And, you know, we marginalize him, we push him out. A guy like that should have nobody should have a seat for life, but, just saying, a guy like that should have a seat for life. Or,
relatively
people like
speaking.
him.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
relatively
yeah,
speaking,
yeah.
of course. But, and that's why party politics don't work. So I just want to go back real quick and talk about what I was just talking about, the police and how they have their own policies and procedures that operate under the, outside of the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the police. We have to look at all the Board of Education, every, policy and procedure of every department in our city and make sure that it's legal, that is lawful, and that it benefits the city as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
As a whole, every
Well,
policy.
push the mic a little bit back from me. Yeah.
Okay,
There you
sorry.
go. Yeah.
I'm a little excited.
Yeah.
So my voice is.
That's okay. Go for
anyway, every procedure, every policy, and every department head, every department has to be examined. And then, for example, if a policeman, if a school worker does something, what is the policy of the district, and how does that align with the law? And then we go through every policy and procedure like that to make sure that it's safe, that is lawful, that is legal, and that it's consistent with the benefit of our community. Because we got to get away from being punitive. We got to stop that.
Right. We have forums getting ready. Now, there's a forum tomorrow, Blue Hill Civic Association. On your screen. This is Phillips Health Center, 2550 Main Street, 6 to 7:30. That's Thursday, January the 12th. That's tomorrow for those of you watching us before the 12th.
Is that going to be open to the public?
It's absolutely open to the public, and you
Okay.
can watch it live on accesstv.org.
You going to be down there filming?
Yes.
I may stop down there. What time?
6 o'clock.
6 or 7:30. I may stop down there. That should be interesting.
Yeah, 6 to 7:30. AccessTV.org will be covering this. I am paying for the coverage. It's my dime, my time, my dime. I'm paying for it. I don't want anyone thinking that someone's paying me to do this. I'm putting out for the coverage. So,
And to all the black and brown people out there with big money, stop playing. Don't let me find out that Stan really got to pay for this. Somebody
I
better-
am paying.
No, but somebody better cuff that up because you're doing a community service, and these people with these deep pockets, they need to step up and make sure that things are taken care of like they're supposed to be. And you know what I'm talking about.
I appreciate that.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do, Stan. If you're providing a service, people are supposed to come in and help you out. What's up with that?
All right. Okay. So, but.
I'm just saying, man.
Right,
I'm
but
about community,
right.
bro.
So the reason I bring this up is because the question that you're saying, the challenge is between now and November. the challenge is that you all out there are going to be attending forums. It may not be the one on Thursday, but at some point you're gonna go to a forum. Maybe you'll be over at at Hyacinth Maple Avenue NRZ.
And we're going to be inviting some people here, too.
And we're going to have people come in here. But when you go to these public forums, I think a good question, Kasike came up with a great question. You all need to write these questions down and then ask them. Would you endorse, sign on to, and commit to a top-to-bottom review of policies, practices, and procedures for the Board of Education and the Police Department?
Absolutely.
For the whole set, but we're going to start off with the Board of Education and Police Department with selected individuals from the community as part of the Oversight Task Force.
Absolutely.
And the resolution has to have teeth in it so that it can't be sidetracked when the results of the task force are not liked by
the people that it's going to impact.
Right. The legislation or the resolution or the ordinances, the resolution can put forth these things can be written in a way where they're bounded for a deliverable. So the deliverable would be a implementation of a top-bottom review of these policies and procedures to better reflect the will of the people. If they don't reflect somebody's will, so it may be the will of the constituent, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's a fair question. Absolutely. I think that's a fair ask.
Yes. And we have to continue to press forward and demand more of these elected officials and bureaucrats. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
You know, we have to just be on point. And like Stan said, I expect to see a lot of people in all these forums asking some tough questions. Don't go in there and trying to be nice, because decisions are going to be made by those people that impact you, your family, and your community, and they better be making the right ones.
Right. So a illegitimate question would be, what is your favorite restaurant in the city?
That's nonsense. You know, that's something that he can get when he's knocking door to door, so that he or she can get when they're knocking door to door. We want to know more critical information. Like Stan said, are you willing to, acts of this, right? Of all the rules and policies, a review of all of these things from these two departments to start with. Are you willing to at least consider, removing the police chief and the superintendent immediately, And we need homegrown. Stop that nonsense of going outside. We have good officers that are not on the command staff that should be police chief. Steve Austin, tremendous community guy, well respected by the officers and the community. Okay, people like that. We want people like that. We had another brother that I forget his last name, Ellery. Oh my God, his mother was my good friend. I'm embarrassed, but he should have been a police chief. I think he got up to the rank of lieutenant, but he was no nonsense guy. Mm-hmm. Extremely no nonsense, but extremely fair and compassionate for his officers and for the community. That's the kind of leadership we want. To all of you listening out there, we want a brother or a sister who is no nonsense, but is compassionate with his officers in the community and is going to hold everybody accountable. Because just like we like to hold officers accountable, we also have to learn to hold ourselves even more accountable, because we're going to exhibit the behavior that we want our officers to display. That's how it should be.
I think another good question then would be 30-second response. You could take as much time after that to dive deep, but 30 seconds, time bounded, so folk don't have to think. It's right on there. It's either on their dome or it's not.
Yes.
10 qualities that make a good police chief.
That's a hard one, man.
Well, if you're going to become mayor of the city,
I understand.
Right? You know,
but that's a hard one.
That means you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about the police chief. The police chief is a direct hire by the mayor.
The other thing, another thing that we need to attach to all of our questions are measurable outcomes. Where we're at today, and where do you expect us to be at the end of your tenure? At the end of your, how do you say it, Stan? At the end of your, when your term.
At the end of your term.
At the end of your term, correct. So where do you, and then we have to measure that. Because we didn't do that for Luke. We didn't do any of that. So we need measurable outcomes. Where we're at now and what the expectation is and how do we measure that? Absolutely. And then another question that I would ask is the enforcement of the resident rule for all department heads, police chief, fire chief, superintendent, the enforcement of that. Because if you are good enough to live off our money, then you are good enough to live amongst us. Stop that nonsense.
I agree with you. My
and even if you just have an apartment or a condo,
no.
I'm just saying, because people move on.
No, when you move on, then you sell whatever it is you're living in. I don't know, no apartment, no condo, no mailbox. A lot of people living in the post office box downtown. No, not right. I want them. This is how I look at that. I agree, but the reason, my factor for why you should be here is the city should be your passion for the city should be such that you want to live here. If you don't want to live here, then you're not willing to invest in the city.
That's not a real investment, and then you just want to earn.
Right, and that's good, but not good enough to be on the mayoral staff. As far as I'm concerned, that's just me. That's me. You need to be able to live in Hartford and have the same passion as the chief elected.
And breathe Hartford.
Right. Because if the mayor has to, then as an extension of the mayor, all the department heads. Because the department heads aren't elected. The mayor's elected. And you all out there need to remember that. But Lou talked, or Kasike talked about about deliverables. I got the little smarter thing here. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bounded, evaluable, and revisable. So exactly what are they talking about? If you don't know what the candidate's talking about, stop them. Like Lou was modeling earlier. Stan, what are you talking about? That makes no sense to me. So now it's incumbent upon me to make it make sense.
Yes.
We don't go no further until it makes sense.
Yes, that's the
you can't let them go further. Tell them to stop because it don't make no sense. Let's move on to something else because you're not going to mess up my head because that don't make no sense to me. They need to know that. How can you measure it? And is it getting done? And don't let them tell you, well, I have a 5-year plan. Well, that's 1 year longer than you're elected for. That means you don't have to deliver. That time out for that. How will they get it done? Is it attainable? Well, I want a top to bottom change within the police department. Well, hold up. You can't do that. So they promises you something they can't deliver. I'm going to bring crime down 50%. Well, that's good. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do it? Well, I've looked at some things in California. No,
Stan. He's going to lock everybody up in the city. And the crime is going to
be no one can come out of the house. Is it relevant? Does it have anything to do with you? There's 3 more. We'll talk about them when we come back. Morning Talk. Stick and stay.
Is it the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they are fighting for?
Stop. All right, hold up. That's not how That's not how that runs. Run that from the beginning so that we can hear the whole spot from the beginning.
How do you define evil? Is it the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they are fighting for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for constituents to flip the script and leave the plantation of party politics and free your political mind.
Good afternoon. My name is McCauley Tete. I'm a parent to a student in Hartford High, and I would say the program was very good. It taught us a lot about how to deal with our kids, how to handle situations. So I would say it's good for all parents to partake if you can. And our coach was very good. She taught us a lot about the Parents University. So I'm so happy and I'm glad I took part in the Parents University. So thank you so much. Love you. My name is McCauley Tete. Bye.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right. Welcome back. It's Morning Talk, having more fun than talk show hosts should be able to have. You're not going to get talk like this on other places because they scared.
I just want our audience to know that the other name that I have for our show is the Modern Underground Railroad. There's a lot of stuff that goes on here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of information that's being imparted for the benefit of our community so people can make informed decisions. That's what this show's about.
Yeah, you hear this?
Imparting information. Yeah, you can hear it right now. Choo choo. And we
Sound like Soul
plans.
Train.
We got some plans we're gonna share with y'all down the road coming up. So, Stan, it's been just an incredible New Year's for me. Everything has gone great.
Mm-hmm.
I've distanced myself from some associations that I made that were not in my best interest. And I did that swiftly and effectively. and we're moving forward. So with that being said, I just want to say to our community, if you have a child in a sports program and the coach is berating the referees, is berating the other coach, the players, the fans, your players, why is your child on that team? And why is that person coaching? Our coaches at every level need to exemplify the behavior that they want their students or their athletes to model. So that's my blessing for this week. Let's make phenomenal decisions in terms of who we allow our children to associate with. Thank you so much, family, and have a great week.
All right. Well, we have a little time left. Let me hit these three here. Time bounded. The seven for smarter. A smarter Hartford for you. You got to rate the plans of the politicians that are electing. Make sure you ask smarter questions when you talk to the candidates. Note, smarter questions and answers are specific, measurable, attainable, time-bound, evaluable, and revisable. Time-bound. So when do you see it happening? When they say that they're going to do something, ask them, well, how long do you think that'll take? This is a good question for many reasons. It'll let you know whether or not they actually are giving it thought or whether they're just appeasing you by saying what they think you want to hear. Because if somebody says, "Well, we're gonna put a new pool in," well, when do you think the pool will be ready? Well, now see, they haven't given that any thought. They haven't given it any thought. All right,
and also important, Stan, because you know that there's a beginning and an end to this project, or whatever.
Absolutely. So you should, if it's your idea, you should have some sense of how long it's going to take. And now there are things that happen, supply chain, a lot. There's reasons why. You're not being accusatory or attacking, but it's just a legitimate question. How long? All right, because if there's no projected deliverable date, then it's open. All right. Evaluable. Can you check to see if it is working? Because you know what? Every idea is not a good idea. But you don't find that out until you start undertaking it. So, is it evaluable? Is it not working? And you know something else? Good leaders will let you know that the plan didn't work. It's not working. We have to change it. There's nothing wrong with that. Stuff doesn't work. The leaders or the bad leaders are the ones that will make up excuses for why it's not working. It really doesn't matter why. We need to change it.
Yeah, the good ones make a automatic adjustment and keep moving.
And keep moving. And bring you in and tell you why we had to make the change.
Exactly.
That way we don't get all hemmed up down the road. Well, you didn't tell them. Just tell them.
Right.
Transparent.
Communication is key.
Absolutely key. And then last, can you make changes to the plan? Is if someone comes along and actually increases the value of it or stops you from going another foot in the fog. I know your plan is to press on and the only thing that's holding you up is the fog. But while the fog bank rolled in, we looked a little further and found out that the bridge is out. Sometimes people will stop you from things for a good reason. So can it be revised?
I think that any good plan, Stan, must have space in it to change, to adapt, to do things like that, and also at the same time keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Because anything that's rigid is like me asking you to put all your eggs in one basket, and then I drop the basket and there's no eggs. You know what I'm saying? No, you put a couple of eggs in there and you see how it works, and if it don't work, at least we're still eating. You know what I'm saying? So I think any good plan must have some space in it for change and adaptability. Absolutely.
It's like the person wants to buy, yo man, you think I could borrow your car? I just need it real quick to come back. Car's all bashed up. It's the only car I have to get the kids to work. Yo man, I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, That's not working. It's the same thing. Like when you lose your job and you tell your kids you're going to the movies or you're going on vacation, they don't know what that means. They're like, Dad, yeah, you lost your job. I understand, but you said that we were going to do this.
That's so funny and so true. I remember because my kids, the famous one was, it is like December the 3rd. Can we go to the ice cream? Look, baby, it's wintertime. We'll do that when the summertime comes. You driving minding your business. Can we get ice cream? Well, it's a little busy. No, but you said in December that we could go when the summer came. Kids don't forget nothing.
And I just want to mention real quick, Stan, before I forget, that yesterday was the first day for recreational cannabis in the state. As many of you know, I am a cannabis vendor, okay, and I am underground, and you're going to see why I am necessary in the community, because they have outrageous prices and they have subpar products. And if you read some of the stuff that's being generated, some of these dispensaries are not holding this cannabis in a safe way where there's mold and things like that.
Ooh.
So please be careful out there.
Ooh.
And that's also a blessing for all the cannabis vendors out there like me. We're going to do great because Big Pharma can't compete with us, but we certainly can compete with them. Peace, family.
Yeah, that's funny. That's true. That's true. Yeah, this whole thing, I'd like to get somebody to come in here. I was listening to the news yesterday. You'd have thought that the Martians had landed on planet Earth or something. It was nonstop, wall to wall. You think that this was something new, and they got the folk biologists and they got the names for all of this stuff. I said, you got to be kidding me. This was like breaking news in the morning at 4 o'clock, all the way throughout the day. How many people are standing in line? And I said, come on. But the thing that I heard that was fascinating is there's a $3 million fine for something.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I want to say this about cannabis. White people criminalize cannabis wrongly, unjustly, and illegally. Okay? And we have to stay away from that narrative. Cannabis has been in our families. There's cannabis in the tombs of the Egyptian pharaohs. Okay, that's how far it goes back. So it's been in our families all along. White man criminalized it because he wanted to keep his job. The same white man that's also responsible for the death of Billie Holiday because she kept singing her song Strange Fruit. She was hospitalized. He demanded that she stop. And when she refused to sign a document that she was stopped, he ordered the hospital to stop giving her her medication, and she subsequently died. So on the next segment, I want to talk about prosecuting and erasing some of these criminals from our history. You got to stop that nonsense, Stan. Peace, family. Peace.
All right, my friends, we're out of time. We'll see you next time. You all have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day. Stick and stay. We got great programming coming up for the rest of the day. I think we got something at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. 10, 2, and 4 live. All right. We increase the number of times we air different things. So, W4 News, Morning Talk, and Light Source. Those are the 3 programs that I'm doing as I move into my 63 years. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. Give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.